And we have our quorum here. So I would ask everybody to rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out of your busy days to come here. It's all the more valuable when we have members of the public here. So thank you for that. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to, with each proposal, we're going to, first of all, we're going to hear from the petitioner. Then we're going to hear from staff. And then we are going to see if there are any questions from the public, and we will go to our commissioners for the final say. Once we go to our commissioners, everybody else has had their turn. And if you are from the public, you want to speak, we try to keep to a strict 3-minute timeline. And when you do come to speak, we ask that you come to the podium. These meetings are recorded, and we will swear you in. So that's how it works. We'll start with our roll call, of course. Chairman Parisi, Vice Chairman Schuessler, here. Commissioner Fenton, here. Commissioner Shalaby, here. Commissioner Paul is not here. Commissioner Sanchez, he can't be here either. Commissioner Zatar. Commissioner Zatar. I'll take that as an absent, but we still have a quorum here. So, we've all had an opportunity to review the minutes of our July 21st meeting. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schuessler.
I move that the July 21st minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Schuessler, seconded by Commissioner Shalaby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed. Thank you. I move that we open public hearings with public hearing number 2026-0504, Cooper Resident Variance, 14461 Woodland Avenue. I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Schuessler. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Petitioner here. Oh, and by the way, if, in anything, whether it's this petition or the next one, anybody who's going to speak or may speak because they might have a question for them, you all have to be sworn in. So we'll do that at once.
Would anyone who intends to speak on the Cooper residence variance please stand and raise your right hand?
Come on. Come on up, everybody.
That's okay. They can.
No, stay there. That's
Like,
okay.
you could get sworn from that. back
When you
there.
come out, well, yeah.
When you,
Yeah.
do you
Please.
solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Your name and address. We got the address.
My name is Jamie Cooper. The address is 14461 Woodland Avenue.
Okay.
All right, I've got a little speech
Go ahead.
here for you guys.
I'm Brian Cooper.
Okay.
But I'm not speaking.
I got you.
You need me to speak.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for taking the time to hear our request and for your service to our community. We are here tonight requesting approval of a fence variance for our property. We appreciate the opportunity to explain why we believe our request is reasonable and why it is uniquely suited to the characteristics of our home and our neighborhood. When we chose to build our home in this neighborhood, we did so because of its unique character. We were drawn to the mature trees, the open views, and the welcoming atmosphere. This is a neighborhood where people walk, wave to one another, and stop to have conversations. It has never felt like a neighborhood hidden behind walls of fencing, and we value that sense of openness. Because of that, our goal has never been to put up a large privacy wall that separates us from our neighbors. Instead, we are asking for the opportunity to install an open-style aluminum fence with additional landscape screening. We believe this design better reflects the character of our neighborhood while still providing the privacy our family needs. When we built our home, we intentionally planted multiple trees of all shapes and sizes, including a row of arborvitaes along the rear of our property to create natural screening. Over time, those trees have matured to more than 10 feet tall, well above the height of a standard 6-foot privacy fence. This demonstrates that our preference has always been to use landscaping to provide privacy while enhancing the beauty of our neighborhood rather than relying on a solid fence. We understand that the current fence ordinance was revised approximately 6 years ago in response to a property on First Avenue in the old Orland neighborhood with a double corner lot. Just as that situation involved unique circumstances, we believe our property elevation and layout also present circumstances that merit individual consideration through the variance process. Our request is not to avoid the intent of the ordinance or to create an exception without justification. Instead, we are asking for the opportunity to use a solution that better fits our property while preserving the character of the neighborhood we choose to call home. Our property has a unique elevation. Because of the grade of our lot, even a 6-foot privacy fence would not effectively screen our backyard. People standing on the street would still be able to see over the fence. In other words, a fence that fully complies with the ordinance would not accomplish the very purpose of providing meaningful privacy. I do have photographs, if you'd like to see, of several corner lot properties throughout Orland Park that feature open-style fencing, some with additional landscape screening and some without. We understand that every property is different and that each application must be considered on its own merits. We are not suggesting that these properties alone justify our request. Rather, we hope they demonstrate that open-style fencing is already part of the character of many neighborhoods throughout the village and can be an attractive, well-maintained, and appropriate solution. Before we conclude, we would also like to address the code violation we received and offer our sincere apology. We take full responsibility for our mistake in using the pool wall before all required approvals were in place. We understand the importance of following the village's ordinances and the permitting process and regret that mistake. During our hearing yesterday, we made it clear to the judge that we're committed to becoming fully compliant with every requirement. We will not use our pool again until we have satisfied all applicable requirements and have been advised that we are in full compliance. We hope that the commission will recognize that we are making every effort to resolve this matter the right way. We have accepted responsibility, have been transparent throughout the process, and are following the proper procedures by requesting this variance instead of simply moving forward without approval. Ultimately, our request is not about building a barrier between ourselves and our neighbors. It is about finding a solution that respects both the intent of the ordinance and the unique characteristics of our property. We believe an open-style aluminum fence with natural landscape screening is a better solution than installing a continuous solid vinyl fence. It provides privacy, preserves the open feel of the neighborhood, and maintains the aesthetic that has attracted so many families to our community in the first place. We believe this approach is more compatible with the surrounding area rather than the solid privacy fence. We also have provided an updated drawing, including some proposed landscaping screening to the commission. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to address this matter. We respectfully ask for your approval of our variance request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you provide that drawing of the, Nick?
Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Would you like to see any of the photos or?
Well, we could up here, sure.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm assuming that heretofore you've been enjoying the pool already this summer.
Only a couple times, you know.
Did once.
Once?
And once, twice, and we did receive notice that we were not.
And just to
These
be,
are each property.
just to be completely transparent, we didn't even know
Which,
until
each
yesterday
property? The
morning
others?
that we couldn't use the pool.
Yeah,
We didn't
I
apply
just
for
want to
the-
see your
the
picture, your
application
natural
for the
screening you were
fence in the
talking about.
beginning.
The what?
It was done
You said
through
you brought
hookup.
photos.
So we, yesterday, when we were told, we said that we will put up temporary fence, and they said we could put up screen, like a chain link fence around the property to use the pool. So our pool has actually got an automatic cover on it too, that holds up to 8,000 pounds, that stays closed when that temporary fence was up the whole, time, so that's, sorry, I don't know if I was supposed to.
And then here's the photos of our property.
Oh, these aren't yours. These are others, I see. Oops, excuse me. This is their property, if you want to pass it down. There. Thank you. I understand there were other people from the public wanted to speak on this matter. Are there?
Do you want to go to staff first?
Should I?
Yeah, if
Oh, well, you know what? I'll go to staff first. Thank you, though. Staff?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Haley Gorman, and I'm a planner for the Village of Orland Park. I would like to begin by requesting that the staff report be accepted into the record as written and as presented during this meeting. The Cooper Residence Variance Project is a request to eliminate the requirement to install a 6-foot-tall opaque privacy fence to screen a swimming pool on a corner lot. The subject property is located at 14461 Woodland Avenue, located within the R3 residential district as indicated in orange on the map here. Under the comprehensive plan, this location falls under the Orland Grove Planning District with a land use designation of single-family residential. Here's an aerial image of the subject property located on the northeast corner of Woodland Avenue and 145th Street. The petitioner has recently constructed a swimming pool in the rear yard of their property, as they mentioned during their presentation. And since this is a corner lot, the pool will be visible from the public right-of-way on 145th Street. As a bit of background, in 2021, the Land Development Code was amended to require the 6-foot-tall opaque fence to screen swimming pools located on corner lots. Swimming pools are permitted to be located in the side and or rear yards of residential lots, and on corner lots, the side and rear yards can be adjacent to a public right-of-way, making the pool more visible from the street. This requirement was implemented in order to screen the view of swimming pools from the public right-of-way. The petitioner is requesting approval of a variance from the screening requirement, in which they propose to still install a 5-foot-tall open-style aluminum fence around their property in accordance with the swimming pool barrier requirements prescribed in the Land Development Code. This is the proposed site plan for the 5-foot-tall open-style fence that they're proposing. An additional item to note is that if the 6-foot-tall privacy fence were to be installed, it would need to be set back at least 5 feet from the property line along 145th Street. However, the 5-foot-tall open-style fence only needs to be set back 1 foot off of the property line along 145th Street. This plan, as shown, would be allowed if not for the swimming pool screening requirement for corner lots. This is the screening plan that the petitioner had mentioned. This is their proposed landscape plan. So in an effort to meet the intent of the screening requirement, they have proposed landscaping along the inside of the fence on the 145th Street side. And this includes 8 arborvitaes and 10 shrubs. So the petitioner has also noted that the topography of their property makes it difficult to fully screen a swimming pool, as their backyard is lower than the public right-of-way. So this image is from Google Street View, facing north towards the subject property standing on 145th Street. As part of any variance request, the 10 variance standards must be met. The petitioner has responded to these standards, noting unique conditions to the property that make it difficult to meet code requirements, among other items as they discussed in their presentation. And their full responses to the standards are attached to the case file for reference. With that in mind, there are 2 motions for consideration by the Plan Commission, as listed on the slide here. This concludes the staff presentation, but I'll also note the village received 1 letter of public comment, and that's also been attached to the case file for reference. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Hello. I'm just here to support them. I think the aluminum fence, the white wall fence just doesn't go with our neighborhood. To tell you the truth, I live just kitty corner to them, and every time I walk out my door, I don't want to look at a big white wall. So I'm just here to support them.
Thank you. Raise your right hand.
I swore it, yeah.
Oh, you were?
I
Oh,
did.
thought I
But
swore.
you might need to do me twice.
That's okay.
Yeah, maybe you need it.
Yeah. We want to be extra sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
My name's Kevin Glynn. I am next door neighbor to the north. My house was shown in the picture up there.
Yes.
I have experience with a lot that I used to live on where someone took down a chain link and put up a vinyl. It destroyed my rear view. It squeezes in the property, makes it feel tight. Just visually speaking, I can't stand the look. I understand if we're going down 80th Avenue and it's a main thoroughfare, this street is only 6 blocks long. It may get some high traffic at times, but it's just a 6-block long street, and it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I too, like Ian was talking about the previous speaker, I don't want to look at it. I just don't want to look at it. I want to be able to see through, and I'd rather see green than something solid. And if there's something, you know, the last thing I'd like to say is just sensibility carries, it's a heavy thing, and it carries a lot of weight, and it just makes sense not to have a solid fence where this is being proposed. Like they talked about, that picture of the street was actually not a good representation of the elevation. You could clearly see over a 10-foot fence. So it being a next door neighbor, I'd like to see them get what they want. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Stephanie. I live directly in back of the Coopers.
Yes, Stephanie.
And I just want to say that I agree with everything Ms. Cooper had said, that Jamie Cooper had said about the fence. Our neighborhood is a family. Our kids ride their bikes. Everybody walks in the neighborhood. They don't want to look at that white fence. It's distasteful. They like being able to see in. None of us have issues or have had issues in all this time. So I just wanted to say that I agree with her.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, we have 3 neighbors in support of you. That's nice to hear. Anyone else? Okay. Short of that, well then I will, I'll go to our commissioners. We'll start with Vice Chairman Schuessler.
2 questions for staff. If the Cooper's lot was an interior lot, wasn't on a corner, would the fence that they're proposing comply with the code requirement?
Yes.
And with regard to the opaque fence that we're talking about, that would be only along 145th Street?
Correct. So
The
it's
rest of the lot could be the, whatever you call it. other fence.
exactly. So it'd only be required along 145th Street and then also the section connecting to their house on that side.
Okay. Well, I'm very intimately acquainted with this particular lot and house. For 33 years, I lived 4 blocks to the west in the same corner. I had a northeast corner at 145th and Ridge. This is a northeast corner of 145th and Woodland. The neighbor that said that the picture that was shown from Google does not really adequately indicate the elevation difference adjacent to the property, and that's really true. You have to really see it. There's a fairly steep hill that begins at Beacon Avenue, and you go 1 block to Highland, and the steepness continues from Highland to Woodland. So the Cooper lot is actually the low point at the bottom of that hill. Then that hill starts up a little bit as you go toward Rainey's Lane and Oakley and Woodland, or Westwood Drive. Anyway, it seems that there are 2 reasons that we have these fence requirements. The first and most important one is safety. So we said the fence complies with the safety requirement. The second requirement is the one that was added when, 21 you said? It was 25 years ago? 6 years ago, whatever, which is concerned just about aesthetics. So we meet the first requirement, or they meet the first requirement without a problem. With regard to the aesthetics, they would have to install, to meet this requirement, a fence that was probably 12 feet high to totally obscure the swimming pool from the street, which is ridiculous. So I have absolutely no problem with the request for variance.
Thank you. Commissioner Shalaby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Corbin, is it okay if you'd be so kind to read into the record the letter that we received, just so that we're hearing from all sides of this?
All right, okay. I am a resident in the Tuckaway neighborhood in Orland Park near St. Michael's Church and noticed a sign for a hearing requesting a variance for a fence that should surround a property on the corner of Woodland Avenue and 145th Street. We have small children who play and ride their bikes near that corner and would feel much safer if the 6-foot privacy fence that is required on a corner lot with a pool be enforced. We also see a problem with pets and animals getting through an open-style fence. The pool and the fire pit on the property are very close to the street, and I think the appropriate 6-foot privacy fence should be required. We are unable to attend the public hearing on this matter, but wanted to make my request known. Thank you, and it's signed, just concerned residents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corman. So I just have a couple of follow-up questions. So based on some of the concerns of this unanimous neighbor, and based on our ordinance, do we commonly have issues as it pertains to pets and animals getting through this current fence style that's being proposed?
Not that I'm aware of, but what they're proposing, again, like Commissioner Schuessler pointed out, would be allowed if this was an interior lot. So it's the minimum that's required for a swimming pool barrier.
And you also agree with Commissioner Schuessler's assessment that it would probably need to be over 10 feet, nearly 12 feet, to truly cover the pool in this particular instance due to how steep the lot is, correct?
That's possible. I'll also point out that we wouldn't allow a fence taller than 6 foot.
Great, thank you. And then the pool and fire pit are close to the street. I mean, I imagine that that's all within code.
Correct, yeah.
And I did want to address the safety question, which you answered, so thank you. The aesthetics, I think that this is consistent with some of the aesthetics. Are we going to, Mr. Cooper had mentioned that 10-foot arborvitaes will be planted. Is that something that would be, if we proceeded with this, that would be stipulated within the criteria for them to obtain the variance?
It's my understanding that we can't add a condition for a variance, correct? Okay, so this is something that they're offering to meet the intent of the screening requirement on their own merit.
I'd be in favor of the variance being approved. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Fenton?
I have several questions. I'll just ask all the questions up front, and then you can just roll out with all the answers. So when Mr. Cooper's came in to apply for a permit for for a pool, were they made aware of the fact that they had to have a 6-foot opaque privacy fence because of where they were located?
Yes,
And at that time, were they also made aware of the fact that you can't go ahead with it unless you are going to follow the rules and put that fence up?
correct.
And yet, how were they able to put in a built-in swimming pool without the fence being approved?
So the swimming pool permit was approved and issued, but the fence permit that they applied for at the same time could not be issued because it didn't meet the code requirements. So from there, they proceeded to construct the swimming pool, but we haven't had any inspections on it at this time, so it wasn't approved for occupancy, as the fence is still outstanding.
So why wasn't the project stopped from the very beginning before this thousands and thousands of dollar pool put in without the appropriate approval of a fence?
We were in communication with the property owner over the course of their pool permit, and they were going back and forth whether or not they would proceed with the privacy fence or pursue a variance, and this is where we landed at this time.
So we allow people to go ahead and do what they want and then come back and ask for forgiveness? I know I sound crude, but.
Commissioner Fenton?
I know, but there again, we have rules for, and to answer your question about animals getting into the yards, they do, because I have that situation next to me. but they also get under my privacy fence. I guess it bothers me that you're told, this is the rule, this is what you have to do, and I don't know where the communication gap was, where it went, that you can just go ahead and do what you want and then come back and hope for a variance. I know you can, whatever, but it just, you know, a 5-foot fence with a built-in swimming pool, to me, is so hoppable. It's not even, I mean, I don't even know why we only require a 5-foot. It should be a 6. Anybody can just hop that 5-foot fence. But if we require a 6-foot for the privacy, why wouldn't we require a 6-foot for the aluminum one? I don't know who can answer that
But
question.
because it's a different circumstance that requires the privacy.
So
But I know, but even at this point in time, you're saying, okay, well, number one, you're not putting up the right fence, so that was a 6-foot privacy, but now we'll let you go ahead and do a 5-foot open-ended, open fence. Why wouldn't we say, in order to obtain this variance, you need to put up at least a 6-foot?
Counsel, the
Yes.
variance was for both the opacity and for the height, correct?
I believe that's what they applied for, so they're proposing.
So they're asking for both.
They're asking for relief from us.
They're asking for relief from the height, right?
Right, I know we don't have to allow it.
Recommend it.
And as far as the issue of the permit issuance, Haley, was there a condition on the pool permit about the fence at all? Was there any mention on the pool permit?
Yes.
So on the pool permit, there was a comment about the fence. And do you remember what that was?
It was that it would need to be the 6-foot tall privacy fence.
So the pool permit that was issued was conditioned on the privacy, the meeting the requirement. They did not call us for a final inspection. We don't monitor every single permit that's out there. It was discovered that the pool was full at that point. We documented it, and then we issued, because it was a life safety issue, we issued a citation.
Are they not allowed to occupy the pool until that condition is met?
Correct, because there is no safety fencing. And safety fencing is in
All
the
right.
International Building Code.
Okay.
Yeah, it did, the pool was never inspected, so it was never
Right.
approved by the village.
I'm sorry, Kathy, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Anything else?
Everybody hates me already, so it doesn't matter.
I don't.
Neither do I.
I guess that's just from my past experience working with the village. You know, you have rules, it's just like, okay, there's a stop sign there. If I want to stop, I'll stop. If I don't have to. You know, it's the kind of same thing, and if I hit you, well, you know, I'll say I'm sorry. But I don't know. I mean, I think there was where the communication lacked, where the misfollowing of the rules, whether, there again, I don't think that pool construction should have even been started without the appropriate fence approval. In other words, if you want to put this fence in, this is what you have to do, and if you don't like it, I don't know what to say. I mean, there's things that we all have to put up in life that we don't like, but, I mean, this is a major variance. We're not talking, you know, a big thing. And I know there's people that don't like the privacy fences. I prefer them, but I've got both. I've got the aluminum on one side, what you want to put up is on one side of me, privacy on the other side, and the wood behind me. So I have 3 different fences. I don't know. I just think we have rules for a reason. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Cooper, I see you're really anxious to say something. So we'll give you another,
Go to the,
so you have to go to the podium. It's-
you have to speak at the podium, ma'am.
We've been in communication with Haley since February. So I assure you, this is not a case of we are gonna do what we want and ask for forgiveness. That is not how we operate. That is not who we are. We are both very, very involved in this community, between school districts, between advisory committees and everything else. That is not our intention, and that is not how we do things. We submitted our original plans for the fence with one company. We then heard back that we were not able to put in that type of fence. We kept going with the process. We kept submitting things back and forth to Haley. We revised everything as we were supposed to. Along with the pool company, they kept going on with the progress. You would think with a company that's been in business since the 1970s that they would not have allowed us to continue. Clearly, I'm not out there filling up a pool. I'm writing the checks, thinking that the business that I'm working with is reputable enough and leading us in the right way. So I value your opinion and I appreciate it and I understand everything you're saying, but I assure you that is the exact opposite of what has happened here with this project.
Mr. Cooper, do you have something to add?
Yes, I just want to say that the ordinance was put in for view. It wasn't for safety. Safety is been approved, I believe, by the police and the fire, any 5-foot fence. And I didn't make that. So we knew that we had to apply for the variance. We've been trying to apply for this variance for months. Show you, we put up a sign. We don't know what we're doing. So we had applied, we put a sign up saying, come to the public hearing. We sent out letters to everyone for the last hearing, and
The sign was not approved.
It was
by
not
legal.
approved.
We redid it.
Yeah, we did it. We did it again. We did the sign in front of our house 3 times.
Appreciate it.
Just to,
Okay.
we're trying to apply, to.
Well, thank you.
And as far as safety, we took the extra steps with the safety for the pool because of our own children and all the children in the neighborhood. There is an automatic cover on that pool that can only be turned on with the key that we have to physically walk down to the pool deck and open and close it.
Okay.
Cannot do it from anywhere else but down
Safety is
there
our
on the
number
deck.
one concern.
So-
Well, yeah, me too. I got 4 grandchildren down the street from you. So, yes. Okay, no. Okay.
There was never intent to do it.
Okay.
And say we're sorry. It was never, we've been trying to go for this for months.
Okay.
And we didn't know how the pool process was, because we didn't apply for the permit originally.
Yeah.
It was done through
Yeah.
done through the pool place.
Okay, well, now here we are.
Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Now it's,
can I just make a comment?
yes.
Okay. I guess part of my issue is with the system. There was a snafu someplace that, just like if you're building a house, these are the rules, and you can't go to the next step until you get your plumbing done or your electric done. And I think that's part of my issue is where was the mix-up that this got to your point of putting the hole in the ground? Ooh, shoot.
You know,
I just want to say, I didn't know yesterday, to the morning yesterday, that we weren't even allowed to go in the pool. So when I found that out yesterday morning at that hearing, I was devastated. I came home and I started calling all the fence companies that could put up temporary permanent fencing for right now. I've called 2 companies to come out because I didn't know that until yesterday morning. Like I said, so I apologize for that. I did not know that we weren't able to do that, so I'm sorry.
thank you for that. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Now it's my turn.
before your turn,
Okay.
could I?
Commissioner?
Excuse me. A question of clarification for the staff. Is a separate permit required for the fence in addition to the permit for the pool?
Yes.
Is the normal process, you get the permit for the pool gets under construction, and then you apply for the fence permit, or do people apply for both of them at the same time?
They have to apply for both at the same time. The swimming pool permit won't get approved unless the fence permit application is in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's my turn. First of all, yeah, I'm very familiar with the property as well. I got kids live down the street. But, my initial reaction was similar to Commissioner Fenton's in that I was thinking to myself, well, we're made aware of these requirements. We're made aware of these requirements, and yet we go ahead and do it anyway, and, because it's a lot easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. But, several comments made by my fellow commissioners make a lot of sense. I mean, one thing is, I'm very familiar with the property. And I think it was Commissioner Schuessler who said you'd need a much taller fence to shield it, and I completely understand. I go by there all the time, and there's a severe drop there. And it doesn't matter if you have a 5 foot or a 6 foot or 8 foot, it wouldn't shield it. So that's a unique topography there. Insofar as, what was the other thing? I haven't seen your moment. Anyway, again, the property is a lot lower than the street level. And so, probably shouldn't have used the pool yet, but you did. But I believe you about, how your really intention was to, whoops, we better tighten this up a bit. I understand that, and, I understand having only it's better to have only you got the question between a 5-foot setback and a 1-foot setback. I understand the restrictions that places upon you. So anyway, having heard all of this, we have 2 choices to make here, one to deny and one to approve. And I just, from my point of view, I'm more inclined to approve the request. But that depends on my fellow commissioners and myself. So with that, I'll ask my fellow commissioners which motion they want to approve.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Huesler.
regarding case number 2026-0504, also known as the Cooper Residence Variance, I move to accept and make findings of fact as discussed at this Plan Commission meeting and within the staff report dated July 27th, 2026.
And I will second that.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Schuster, do you mind reading the second part of that paragraph? It's on the following page.
Next page.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's up there.
On the top.
I also recommend that the Board of Trustees approve a variance from section 6-310H and 6-310-1A1B2A9. Whoa. Of the Land Development Code to eliminate the requirement to install a 6-foot tall opaque fence to screen a swimming pool on the corner lot.
Again, I second that. Commissioner Shalaby.
And I'm sorry, but I do just want to make clear that the variance will require the construction of a 5-foot tall, non-opaque fence, correct? Thank you. So it's not, the fence requirement isn't completely eliminated.
No,
Correct.
you get the variance to go with a 5-footer.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Commissioner Fenton.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Did you guys vote?
Aye.
I already said aye, so that makes it unanimous. So the motion for the request for the variance is approved. So thank you for attending. Thank you back there for attending. And
So it'll be recommended to the Board of Trustees, and you'll have to go to the Board of Trustees meeting. You can discuss the dates with Carrie and Haley.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Fenton.
just for note for staff, so this doesn't happen again. Hopefully, there's some way that we can tighten up the permitting process prior to a project starting. And so rules are followed prior to any digging into the ground. Just a thought.
Okay. I move that we close public hearing number 2026-0504, and that we open public hearing number 2026-0637, Northwestern Medicine St. George Cancer Institute, 15300 through 15400 West Avenue.
Can't do anything, we don't have a quorum.
Second.
I made a motion, a second by Commissioner Shalaby.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We don't have quorum to.
Pardon?
Right, we don't.
We need Fred to be back here
need
before we can
need
open this
Fred to be
petition.
back. I thought he was just gonna,
I'm just,
Cough around us?
I'm just speeding it up a little bit. most of you folks here from St. George? Wow. Impressive. No, no such thing. No such thing. More knowledge for any questions that may be asked. We'll just wait for Commissioner Schussler. Public concerning the St. George Wellness petition? Okay. So with a petition like this, there's the petitioner, but then there are other people, there are engineers and, other issues that may stimulate a question that we need somebody else to answer from the group. That's why anybody who is from there who may be questioned, that's why we have to swear everybody in. So if you think there's a chance you're going to get a question, you're going to speak, we'll just have you all come in, we'll swear you in at once. We do not need to do it individually or we'll be here all night. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can we take a 2-minute recess then? Because this is getting like.
Do it. 2-minute recess.
Sure, do you want to make a quick motion?
Sure, I move to recess for 2 minutes until we have a quorum.
I approve your motion.
Thanks.
That's enough. That'll end our recess and we're back in business. Okay. So regarding this petition, the petitioner's here.
You were in the midst, who was seconding your close and open motion? That's what we were in the midst of when Commissioner Schussler walked out.
Well, I made the motion and Dave Shalaby seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, okay. Now the petitioner can come up. And anybody who might speak, whatever you are, right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, isn't there a requirement that anybody who wants to speak has to have a tie on?
We can pass one along to everybody.
Just kidding.
We're not setting the proper example.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Just your name and your
Yes.
position. and
Dan
then-
Callahan, Director of Planning and Construction at Northwestern Medicine.
Okay. What's your first name?
Dan?
Dan
Callahan.
Okay. Sir?
All set. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, village staff, thank you for having us this evening and for your time this evening. Like I said, I'm Dan Callahan, Director of Planning and Construction with Northwestern Medicine. I've brought a contingency with me here this evening, led by Canon Design, which is our design firm. We are here to introduce the Northwestern Medicine St. George Cancer Institute in Orland Park, brought to you by Northwestern Medicine, as well as a generous grant from the St. George Foundation, which has been in this community for a while, supporting lots of philanthropic efforts. With your support this evening, we're prepared to bring to this community a world-class facility, bringing Northwestern Medicine's top-ranked cancer care to this village. We're not looking at this as an outpost small cancer center. This is going to be a destination for the area, for the Midwest, for people to come in looking for cutting-edge treatment that we can touch on here in a minute, but that will literally put this cancer center on the map as part of Northwestern, but also part of a greater good for the community. This evening, we're going to have an agenda. We'll try to move quickly. I know we've got a lot of information, but I know there'll be a lot of questions as well. We're going to do a project overview showing some plans and elevations. We're going to have traffic access, stormwater detention, proposed modifications, slight modifications that we're asking for, and then also finish with some economic and community benefits that we believe it's bringing to this beautiful village. I touched on it, bringing some, creating a destination here. That's going to be done by cutting edge technology in cancer treatments. You can see different ones up on the board, but obviously radiation oncology, diagnostic imaging, linear accelerators. I'm really, really excited to tell you that we're going to be bringing something first to Northwestern called a cyclotron, where we're going to be creating isotopes on campus in the building to use for targeted therapies. That is, again, cutting edge and helping save lives all over the place. As well as a 4-story building, there'll be a 4-level parking structure with valet service as well for patients, visitors, staff. So with that, we're going to be turning this over to Andy Lane, who's with Canon Design, and he's going to start walking you through.
Thanks, Dan. Andy Lane.
Andy Lane?
Andy Lane, L-A-N-E.
Yes, and your position?
I'm an architect. I'm the principal in charge of the project.
Okay.
Just a quick overview of where we are. We're in the
Sure.
current zoning is the business general, which is appropriate for medical office space. We're in the Orland Grove district. So just kind of a high-level overview. We're talking today a little bit about the site plan, some images of the building, talk about materiality, and then we'll transfer that to some of our civil team to talk about traffic and stormwater and landscape. But our campus, you can see here, the proposed building is just a little bit west of the existing Orland Park Northwestern campus and to the east of Centennial Park, just south of 153rd Street. We've kind of situated the building the way it's located because we're nestled in between wetlands and some natural native wetland areas and landscaping that we're trying to preserve as part of this project, that we are preserving as part of this project. So that's kind of where the building gets its shape and orientation. You can see from when you approach it the south, we're trying to create a very welcoming destination look to the building. A lot of welcoming glass, along with some masonry and stone elements to kind of balance the openness of the glass with some more solid things that are rooted more to the community and anchored to the site. Borrowing from some prairie aesthetics as well as far as aesthetics with the strong horizontal lines and kind of the brand of Northwestern. So trying to merge all those things together. And to the left there, you can see the parking structure that's attached on the first story so that patients can come through a connected place into the parking structure without having to cross lanes of traffic. The materiality I was discussing, we are using a lot of brick as well as Indiana limestone. So brick masonry is very prevalent throughout. We have the large glass elements curtain wall, which is aluminum and glass pieces, and then the metal panels that the black area for this to screen the mechanical units on the roof. Here's another view a little up closer to the building. You can see a lot of the stone, a lot of the glass. That's the main view of the building with the stair tower there, but we're trying to blend all the heavy with the light and get a nice play and interchange of those materials, as well as some great landscaping in front of the building to kind of help soften it all into the landscape. Another view looking, as you're looking from the south along the edge of the parking structure, we're screening that with a lot of landscape elements to kind of help soften that as well. And then obviously the detention space in front of the building you're seeing there to the right, it will be fully planted and it'll look nice year round. This looks towards 153rd Street. The lower levels, to Dan's point about some of the cutting edge technology, a lot of that space on the lower level doesn't need windows because it's the radiation oncology spaces. They're big giant vaults that help protect the patients and the public from radiation. So that's a lot of solid elements. That's all the brick masonry pieces. Above that lighter, which you'll see from 153rd Street, is where the glass will be more translucent and transparent at night, so it'll be glow like a beacon on the landscape. View from the west, again, more brick masonry with a little less curtain wall on that side of the building, a little less public-facing side of the building, so we kind of soften that with more brick and doesn't need as much opaque or transparency and views out.
Is that western view, is that your parking lot?
No, that's facing Centennial Park. That's kind of the service yard area kind of thing. Yep. So the traffic access demo, I'm going to turn that over to our friends, their civil friends.
Good evening. My name is Steve Corcoran. I'm Director of Traffic Engineering at Erickson Engineering Associates. And we prepared a traffic and parking study that should be in your packet. But I'll just give a very brief overview. Essentially, in terms of the campus, we're going to be using the existing campus access off 153rd and West. That's going to remain the same. No major changes. We're going to do a little bit of restriping at the 153rd entrance to extend the left turn lane there. But we'll use that same entrance. We'll have 2 access drives into the building area. One is from the roundabout. If you recall, at one point, there used to be a temporary parking lot during the reconstruction of the medical office complex. That was the south entrance. Now, we are now going to make that a formal south access into the parking garage area. And then we'll also have the main entrance that he showed a picture of that's located opposite a driveway for the medical office building that comes in. So we'll have 2 ways in and out that lead into the parking garage. At the request of staff, our inbound, we're going to direct with directions and through literature, have our visitors come in the 153rd Street entrance. And then in terms of parking, we have a 490 space parking garage that will serve both visitors as well as staff. And those numbers are based, that demand, the supply we came up was based on a lot of parking studies done at other cancer centers around the country. And now I'll turn this over to Rick Sennett to talk about stormwater.
Good evening. My name is Rick Sinnott, S-I-N-N-O-T-T, with Erickson Engineering, and I'm the project civil engineer. This site was somewhat of a challenge to grade. I'm sure you've seen it. It's has a low area right off 153rd Street and a big hill just south of that. So our intent, of course, is to grade the site to provide stormwater in accordance with the village and the MWRD requirements. So we created a series of 3 detention ponds. The first one, number 3 on that slide, that's existing. It was built as part of the 2014 project. We're going to keep that at least temporarily. It will probably be modified at some point in the future when that area that's to the southeast of the roads, which is now there's no development plan for it, but it could be in the future. So Pond 3 could be enlarged at that time. Pond 3 is then tributary of Pond 2, which provides most of the stormwater management for the site. It provides about 3 acre-feet of detention. It provides all of the water quality requirements that the village and the MWRD have. The water quality, all of the proposed impervious surfaces will be directly tributary to Pond 2. So that's where all of the infiltration will take place. Pond 2 then will discharge underneath the road and go to Pond 1. Pond 1 is an existing wetland area. It's been determined to be non-jurisdictional by the Corps of Engineers, and the MWRD has determined that as a standard isolated wetland. So it's low quality, but our intent is to, in accordance with their requirements, we can use it for some detention. So we're going to put about 2 acre-feet of detention in that pond. And then that pond will discharge southwest on the west side of our site towards the area that's just north of the skate park. And eventually that water goes around the skate park and ends up in Centennial Lake, which is what it does now. We are in the process of applying for a permit from the county as requested by the village. The existing wetland encroaches onto 153rd Street, so that there is a potential impact to 153rd Street right away. There's no impact to the street at all, but that being the county's right away, we have agreed to submit for a permit to the county. This is an alternate if the county doesn't allow us to do the plan that we have designed. The alternate, this first alternate would be to do some grading in the right-of-way to pull that wetland away from the right-of-way. And then there's a second alternate that if the county doesn't allow us to do that, we will take Pond 3 and enlarge that to provide the detention that we're not providing in Pond 2. So that's the scheme. And I'll be available for questions.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, hi, my name is Steve Gregory. I'm landscape architect with Erickson Engineering, landscape architect for the project. We're super excited to get to work on this one because it's a pretty unique site as Rick described, with the grading and the wetlands that exist there to the north, which we're going to be able to keep and basically enhance. And we wanted to use that as kind of the framework for the planting and for the native plants and the introduction of low profile prairie for the bulk of the site. There's a small perimeter around our paved areas where we have a low maintenance turf grass, just for a transition from the built environment to that more natural environment with the native plants. The base and bottom would be done with wet tolerant native plants. All this would be governed by a monitoring and maintenance plan. We're currently working with staff to make sure we accommodate all those issues and items, that we will have a monitoring and maintenance plan that's compliant with your ordinance. Next slide. And this kind of just shows you a little bit more in depth. That area that was in the renderings there on the right is the patio and garden, kind of nestled in up next to the building, kind of offering a unique little setting there, surrounded by a pollinator garden where we're going to introduce a bunch of native plants that would allow our staff and or any patrons to use this space to just relax and enjoy their time between shifts or whatever it might be in a more natural setting, overlooking the dry creek that Rick had mentioned, that basically is a link between Pond 2 and Pond 3, Pond 3 being I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Pond 1 is the native area coming from Pond 2, where all of our water goes first, part of the treatment train, and then would go through this dry creek area. And that's done kind of just stabilize that so we don't have erosion or anything else there. And then again, it will be framed with native plants that lead down into the native plants of the wetland area. Again, I will be available for any questions, but that's pretty much our landscape plan in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions you might have as we move forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sir.
Ryan Soderquist with Canada Design. I'm the project architect for the project. So we do have a couple of special use permits and modifications that we are asking for the development. And starting with the special use is one, the amendment to the existing PUD. So on this screen, you'll see that we have the 2016, which was the last time the campus had a project, that dark gray on the left image. You can see where our lot is off to the left. It didn't include the entire property. So the amendment is to bring that lot 3 property into the PUD. There is no modifications asked for the fitness center. So the Village Fitness Center is on lot 2, and there is no part of what we're asking in the development that would affect anything currently with that. There really isn't, there's one condition that Ms. Gorman will talk about for an update to the current campus on Lot 1. The second special use is to have our building within a 30-foot of the wetland. So you can see a 50-foot, 30-foot delineation, and then the 0 hatched area is the wetland. Essentially what the special use is to let us align the building with the wetland, which lets us optimize the land and the footprint of the building with the wetland. And if we move on to modifications, so current ordinance allows in the business district for there to be a 4-story structure, which we are. The height limit is 50 foot. As Andy was mentioning, our first 2 floors are brick and they have the heavy equipment. So the floor-to-floor heights for the linear accelerators and all the imaging equipment needs to be a lot higher. So we're really only asking for 1'6" for that height limit. So we're keeping it as low as we can. You can see at the very top here, we've done a cross-section through the existing campus because our new proposed building is lower than the existing campus, even though we're higher, we have 1 additional story. We're in compliance and we're hitting that datum all across 153rd. So our building isn't going to be anything taller than what you currently see along 153rd. And then if I go to this next slide, the ordinance does say that we won't want to have any impact on the properties to the north. So this slide is essentially showing a shadow study that we did. We have the 3 on the bottom are during the summer, and so you can see there are very minimal shadows even on the wetland. And then in the winter, at 9 a.m. on winter solstice, you'll have a little bit of a shadow that would be on the adjacent village property. But then by noon, and then in the evening, at no time will the shadow of the building end up going on 153rd. It will not go on the sidewalk that is on the south side of 153rd, and it will not ever reach the properties across to the north. We do have then a modification ordinance calls out for mechanical screening and a height limit of 10 feet. We're requesting a 1-foot addition to that height. Again, because a lot of the equipment that goes in with the imaging, the cooling units that go onto the roof are a little bit higher, and we don't want those to be visible from the roof or from the road on 153rd. So again, it's a slight 1-foot increase to make sure that we're screening all of the mechanical units on the roof. We'll go into the buffer lot yard. So you can see on the left where the green is, that would be to the adjacent property lines of the village. So you can see Centennial Park, the skate park, and then there's undeveloped parcel up to the north lawn 153rd. So we are going to, we're going to be in compliance with the village ordinance to landscape, placing the trees, shrubs, and overall canopy trees along that, basically to create that edge from the existing Centennial Park and our development. And then what we are asking for the modification is that we have reduced or limit the buffer required and the landscape required along that ring road. So along the 2 lot lines within our development unit, the ordinance, the spirit of the ordinance is to use that buffer to separate different areas. So in this case, we're using the buffer to differentiate our business from Centennial Park. But however, since everything for the existing campus and lot 3 are within our development unit, we're asking for less landscaping than the ordinance would require there. There is some ability in the future to increase the buffer and add landscape adjacent to the fitness center. We have left a little bit of space on the south part of the property that a future development could occur there. And then the wetland up at the top, there's a separate modification asking for the buffer around the natural wetland. And because Dan had mentioned this is going to be a showpiece, and it really is going to be something for the community to end up having as a star on their pocket for the village, that we want it to be visible from 153rd. We are complying with a couple other ordinances that do have trees along 153rd. So you will have some screening, some landscape, but one of our goals would be to have this visible, to have from 153rd, looking across that wetland and getting a view of the building. So then the last modification that I have to talk about here is on our parking garage. The ordinance calls out for masonry to be on all four sides of the buildings. And so as Andy had kind of shown with the Cancer Center, we do have a lot of masonry. We have Indiana limestone as accents that comply fully with the spirit of the ordinance. We are on the east and south side of the garage. We're going to have brick inlay, concrete panels. So the masonry ordinance does comply on those two. However, as I mentioned, we're leaving some space in the lot 3 for a future development. We're leaving a space for a future bay to be added onto that parking garage. And so the request for the modification is to, in lieu of having brick on the west and north facade of the garage, day one, that we would do landscaping and we would have a stained concrete, an assortment of stained concrete colors to give it some variety and not just be plain, as it will be seen from Centennial Park. But we will do fast-growing trees, so that will provide some screening to it. We also have the buffer that's gonna be between Centennial Park and our building. Then at a future date, when that extra bay of parking gets built, then we would go back and do the matching brick all the way around. So in the short term, we're doing our best to come up with something that's visually appealing for the community, but in the long term, it will all come under the ordinance. So with that, I will hand it back to Dan.
Well, thank you for that detailed explanation.
Thanks, Ryan. We're almost done, I promise. The last thing we're going to touch on here, Ryan, if we can go ahead and hit it, economic and community benefits. The expansion of the cancer care and treatment in Orland Park, obviously we talked about that, not just for the community, but it being a destination in the Midwest and even nationally, that we really believe there's going to be bringing people and business to the area. Approximately 150 new jobs are what we're estimating generating in the facility. That's not moving people from one place to the next. That's 150 new jobs created. And then at any given time, we think we're going to have 350 construction jobs generated for the 2+ years that we're going to be here, looking to open this in the mid-2029. Landscape enhancements that we just talked about, the landscaping, it doesn't even do it justice just to see it, but it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a gorgeous facility. And then preservation of the existing wetlands that are already there, and just overall beautification of the Orland Park campus, which already is a beautiful modern campus. So priority for open spaces versus parking lots as well. So that's why we have the parking deck, and we're going to have as much open space as we can. But in a nutshell, we think it's going to be great for your community, and we thank you for your time this evening, and definitely open it up for questions. I'm sure you have a lot.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Steph?
Thank you. I would like to begin by requesting that the staff report be accepted into the record as written and as presented during this meeting. So I'll keep it a bit more brief since our petitioner had such a thorough presentation. I'll go over our requested approvals again. Here's the full list. It includes an amendment to a special use permit for a planned development with modifications, a special use permit for development within 50 feet of a non-tidal wetland with modifications, and approval of their site plan, landscape plan, and building elevations. And I'll go into more detail with their modification requests throughout the presentation. I'd also like to note that the Orland Park Health and Fitness Center will not be impacted by this proposal. The proposed development would occur entirely on the vacant parcel of land adjacent to the center. So this is an aerial image of the subject property and the surrounding area, and the yellow outline indicates the entire boundary of the planned development, known as the Palos Community Hospital Plan Development. And that includes the existing medical offices for Northwestern Medicine and the Orland Park Health and Fitness Center. Here's the proposed site plan overlaid onto the aerial, just to demonstrate the location of the development relative to the existing buildings. And moving forward, here is their proposed site plan. As they discussed, this will be a 3-story, 150,650 square foot medical office building, accompanied by a 4-level parking structure. There is approximately 2 acres of wetland on the north side of the property, which is proposed to be utilized as stormwater detention for the development. Overall, the site plan meets land development code requirements regarding setbacks and lot coverage. The proposed lot coverage is approximately 49%, which is far below the maximum of 75% allowed for this district. The parking for the site will be accommodated within the new parking structure, which is proposed for a total of 490 parking spaces, including 10 accessible spaces. However, 753 spaces are required by code. So parking will be shared among all uses within the planned development, as demonstrated in this table shown on the slide, as well as within the staff report. The shared parking lowers the deficit in parking below the 20% threshold warranted for administrative relief, so the parking requirement has been considered to be met by staff. The code requires that a public sidewalk be installed on both sides of private streets. The petitioner has stated that the existing wetland on site makes it difficult to meet the sidewalk requirement, as this would require the wetland to be disturbed. There's also existing trees that the petitioner would like to preserve, which would have needed to be removed to accommodate a sidewalk. So the village has been working with the petitioner to address this requirement, and staff is recommending a condition of approval that the sidewalk be installed at the time of future development on the site. Due to the proximity of the wetland, a special use permit for development within 50 feet of the wetland is required, and the petitioner has further requested a modification from the code to reduce the required 50-foot buffer to 30 feet, as the northeast corner of the medical office structure encroaches into the required 50-foot buffer, as shown in this image here. Staff is in support of this request due to the minimal impact. The preliminary landscape plan has been reviewed by the village's landscaping consultant. The plan has been conditionally approved at this time, in which staff is recommending conditions of approval for landscaping to be addressed prior to the petition advancing to the Board of Trustees. These items include stormwater management area landscape, the west and south landscape buffer yards, a monitoring and management plan, and landscape cost estimate. So as the petitioner discussed during their presentation, they're requesting a modification from the requirement to provide a landscape buffer yard along the east side of the subject property. The justification is that the property line is adjacent to uses within the planned development. The intent of the buffer yard requirement is to provide a separation from adjacent land uses. So since these properties are within the planned development, staff is in support of the request on the east buffer yard. However, we are recommending a condition that the buffer yards be provided along the west and south property lines. They have also requested a modification to eliminate the requirement to provide a 15-foot wide naturalized landscape area with an 8-foot wide maintenance vehicle access area around the detention basin. They've noted a couple of different reasons for this request, and ultimately staff is in support of the request, provided that additional information is submitted for further review about how the detention area will be accessed for regular maintenance without the required 8-foot wide access. Moving on to the building elevations, the design of the building for the St. George Cancer Institute is consistent with that of the existing medical campus and also consistent with other developments of this size. They're utilizing anchored brick, stone, or similar masonry materials to extend from the adjacent grade to the top of the window, highest on the subject facade, with minor accents in place of the masonry. The village encourages four-sided architecture, and the proposed design meets this intent by utilizing consistent design elements and building materials on all four elevations. The proposed materials, as they've discussed, are a mixture of brick, metal panels, and limestone, as well as glass. The medical office building is proposed to exceed the maximum height requirement by 1 foot 6 inches. So they've requested a modification from this height requirement. They submitted a sightline exhibit and elevation exhibit to demonstrate the height of the new building relative to existing buildings within the plan development. Due to the difference in elevation, the height of the building will be very similar to the existing, as they've discussed during their presentation. So staff is in support of this request. On that same note, they've also requested to increase the height limitation for rooftop mechanical equipment screening in order to fully screen the equipment. The Land Development Code requires this screening, so staff is also in support of this request, as it'll ensure that the rooftop equipment will be fully screened and not visible from the public right-of-ways. Next, we have the building elevations for the parking structure. This structure is going to be 4 stories tall, approximately 48 foot 6 inches, so that meets the height requirement for the district. The north, east, and south elevations will have similar designs with masonry, brick, and metal accent panels along the entire facade, and 2 corners of the structure feature glass stairwells. And there's also a fully enclosed connection to the main building from the parking structure. So as the petitioner mentioned, they are requesting a modification from the masonry requirement. Staff is in support of this request, but is recommending conditions of approval in an effort to offset potential impacts from the request. And that would include, upon future expansion of the structure, they should update the design to fully comply with all village design standards. Staff is also recommending that stain be utilized on the parking structure instead of paint, and also that they install the landscape buffer yards on the south and west property lines of this property. Here's a closer image to demonstrate the materials proposed for the structure. And then I won't spend too much time on the renderings, as the petitioner had discussed these in more detail. And findings of fact, these are split up between 2 slides for reference, but when reviewing an application for a special use permit, the decision-making body shall adopt findings of fact. The petitioner has submitted responses to the special use standards, which are attached to the case file, and staff finds the petitioner response is satisfactory and recommends approval of the special use permits required for the project. With that in mind, here is the staff recommended action. It's also split up into multiple slides, just to try and make it as clear as possible, just because there's so much in the action. And then here's the staff recommended motion, and this concludes the staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go to my commissioners. Commissioner Schuessler.
A couple of questions. First one for the staff. This masonry requirement for the parking garage, is the parking garage in compliance for all the sides except the west? Yes.
No, it's 2 sides, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so it's just the west that's out of compliance. Okay. Now, when I talked to you earlier today, you indicated that there was a plan, or the petitioner indicated to you they plan to add on to the parking garage and add another building in the future. Did they give you a timetable for that?
It's our understanding that there's no time frame right now. It's just they're setting aside land for future expansion if desired.
Mr. Callahan, is there a time frame?
No, Haley's correct. There currently is not a time frame. We don't even know if in the future we 100% will. We just are building and constructing the garage and the building so that if in the future there is a need, it can be added on easily to it. So there's no timeline.
All right, my question for the staff then is, if the petitioner decides that there isn't a need for more capacity on this site, and they decide not to put another building on, then we're left to live with the west elevation facing the park without the brick and so on that is supposed to be for appearances reasons. Is that right?
Yes.
Is there any way, or would it make sense to add a provision that if they didn't decide within 10 years to do that, that they had to do something to make the west elevation a little more attractive? Is that possible?
Yes, you could recommend that as a condition, or revise the recommended condition to reflect a timeframe.
Mr. Callahan, is that 10 years a reasonable period of time when you know whether you're going to do it or not do it?
Yes, we would have an idea of our future plans in 10 years that we could revisit it.
Okay.
I think so. Can I say one more thing?
Sure, say whatever you want.
From the distance of Centennial Park, because we've built a lot of these garages and we actually do stained concrete more often than we ever put embedded brick into it. We believe from the distance of the baseball fields and that it wouldn't even be able, like a viewer wouldn't even be able to tell if that is concrete or if that is brick. Just, it's going to be toned just like the brick.
Okay, I understand that, but the area right now, which is undeveloped, will be developed with baseball fields or soccer fields or something, and it'll be right pretty close to the lot line. So, yeah, where you're looking at the baseball field now, that's no problem, but there'll be something closer to the building once it's developed.
Understood.
And that's what I would be concerned about, that we have an ugly, not very attractive side to a parking garage to look at from a public park. Okay, so whatever you design, whatever you build, in the end needs to be functional. I don't have a lot of problems with what you're proposing for Lot 3. I do have some problems with your existing configuration of the road network and the parking for the existing buildings there. And specifically, what I'm concerned about is there's only two ways into this site. One is off 153rd, as you know, and the other one, that road winds around, takes a 90-degree turn, and ends up at West Avenue. The driveway on 153rd, the curb cut there, it's difficult to get out there because the traffic on your right is coming down a fairly steep hill. People accelerate to get to the top of the hill, and then they come zipping down that hill. So you really have to be careful. I've lived in Orland Park a long time, since 1972. And I'm at this facility a lot now lately because my wife is confined to a wheelchair and we have a lot of reasons to be there. And I have a handicap van that I have to deal with. That's one of the other things I want to talk to you about in a minute, about the parking spaces for handicap. But staying on driveways, that driveway on 153rd at the street has a very tight radius and it's not very wide. There's 3 lanes there. If you're coming out, there's a left turn lane, a right turn lane. If you're coming in, there's a right lane in. The speed limit there on 153rd is a lot higher than it is on West Avenue. And you have to really, really slow down to make that turn in and stay in your lane. If there's a car there waiting to turn left to go west on 153rd, you gotta really slow down, be careful. I don't know why, when they did the 2016 project to build the building over on the east side and to redo all the parking and everything, they did it that way. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The other driveway has a different problem. Over on West Avenue, there is a deacceleration lane for the traffic going in there. And that driveway, I believe, is 30, what did you tell me, 34 inches? You told me that this morning.
That's correct, 34
And
feet
the one on
approximately.
153rd is only 27. So it's not difficult to get in on West Avenue, much harder to get out. Because if you look at the drawing, there's immediately you have a road to the right as you, I'm sorry, as you're going out, you have to deal with the entrance into the Health and Fitness Center. And that causes that left, dedicated left lane to be very short. So it seems to me that the solution to that, everything costs money, so you're probably not going to want to do it, but the solution is to, and what they should have done when the village took over the Health and Fitness Center and traded the land to Northwestern, or to Payless at the time, for Lot 3, they should have put a separate entrance to the Health and Fitness Center and cut that access off to that main road. And if that had been done, it would allow for a much longer dedicated left turn lane for storage of cars that are waiting to turn left to go north onto West Avenue. So for your traffic person, have you done an analysis of how many cars are going to be turning left on that intersection to go north onto West Avenue?
Yes, we have. In table 6 of our report, we looked at the,
We didn't get the report, we just got a summary, so.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
We did see the traffic impact.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, well, we did look at that. We looked at the queuing for the eastbound left turn, basically turning on to West Avenue. And the queue is going to be, I'm sorry, the 95 percentile queue is about 25 to 50 feet during the different peak hours. And we have a 60-foot left turn lane there. That's how it's currently striped for full storage, or the full length of the storage there is 60 feet. So we have enough room for the left turns as they're currently, based on their traffic counts and the traffic projections.
Okay, well, we'd be concerned about projections because you're adding significantly more traffic with the additional building you're putting up to the
Yeah,
site.
and that includes the additional traffic from the.
Okay. All right, thank you. What else? Oh, the handicap parking. Probably 8 of the 10 times I go over there with my wife, there's not enough handicap parking up, and this is just a matter of striping you can do and solve very quickly. There is not enough handicap parking by the main entrance. So when I get over there and all the handicap parking is taken up, I have a van that has a ramp on the right side of the van. And there's no handicap place to park. To get the ramp down, I have to turn around and go into the circle there by the main entrance. A lot of times when I do that, there are too many valet cars there because they haven't moved them away quick enough. And there's no place to get in near the door. So I have to then stop in the left lane, put my blinkers on, put the ramp down. Everybody behind me then gets unhappy. That's the only thing I can do. Unless, instead of doing that, I go back to that main road and go down over by 153rd where the immediate care center is and park in there. And usually there's some vacant handicap spaces there. But then I have to go all the way through that building on the lower level, take an elevator up one level, and then go through all the buildings over to where the lab is, which is where we are frequently. And then when she's done with the lab or the x-ray or whatever it is, retrace my steps. Bottom line is, you need more handicap spaces near the entrance, the main entrance. The other handicap spaces are by the existing west building. It used to be called Building 3, I think. I don't know what you call it now. They changed is it A, B, or C or something? But there are handicap places, or where the other entrance is, where they've got a canopy and you can pull up there and let somebody go in there. It's by the women's mammography area there. That one is usually full too, but it seems to empty out quicker. But the ones by the main entrance, that's a problem.
What would you like to see them do?
I would like them to make some more handicap spaces there. When you're done with any, let's take my pills.
What is the situation now with the handicap spaces?
At the current
No,
location.
your plan, what your plan is.
Well, I think you're gonna put handicap spaces by the new building is what you're talking about, right? Yeah.
We're putting accessible spaces in the garage on the different floors,
Okay.
by the elevator, so they can use those, as well as they're providing valet in that pickup drop-off area in front of the building.
Okay, but that's all for the new addition. What I'm
That's for the
telling
new
you is,
addition.
you have an existing problem with the existing usage in the existing structures. That's all I'm telling you. That has nothing to do with the new addition.
I totally understand. I appreciate you letting me know that. Tomorrow, and I'll give you my contact information before you leave. I will talk
Okay.
to local facilities there and look at what we can do to add spaces. I wasn't aware of an issue there, but that is something we'd like to take care of.
Okay, those are my questions.
Thank you.
I have one other quick question. In round numbers, how expensive is this project? This is a big investment in Orland Park, I know. What are we talking about in big numbers?
We've filed with the state for a CON for the entire project to be construction, $196.5 million, all in with all new equipment, $275 million.
Okay. It's a big investment.
Right, it is.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fenton?
Just a couple questions. Just on the side of the permits for the north pond, you know, if you said if Cook County doesn't approve it, you had, whoever talked about the pond. Oh, you did. So the pond, is the village okay with if option 1 doesn't get approved by Cook County? Are they okay with option 2 and 3 that they presented? Since it's a permit, I'm trying to get ahead of the permit process. Dig into the ground.
This Cook County thing is kind of a new development, and we haven't had the opportunity to review the options in detail yet. But conceptually, like, I think it could work, but we haven't reviewed anything yet to fully commit to that.
But we would get ahead of the process, so they wouldn't be digging and building and then all of a sudden tell them, oh, by the way, this isn't gonna work, hopefully.
Yeah, they'd have to be fully designed before, and they'd have to get a WMO permit, which we'd issue on behalf of MWRD before they could do any
But we just know how
earthwork.
Cook County is, so
Yeah.
I would hate to let that drag along.
Mr. Chairman, I've got some problems tonight. I move for a quick recess.
All right.
We'll have a short recess. Don't need a motion.
Commissioner Fenton,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Schuster, were you through?
I'd like to continue to respond to Commissioner
Fenton's, I
Fenton.
think.
Oh, Commissioner Fenton.
Yeah, I
I'm sorry.
apologize for, I've taken
You threw me
some,
off.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've
no
taken
apology.
some medication which
Please take your
requires me to-
medication. No apology necessary. Commissioner Fenton?
Yeah, so just to continue, we had actually specifically asked them to provide the alternatives so that those were presented at the public hearing, that if we had to choose from one of them, all three options would have been at this hearing so that the village board can then act on one of them if we had to make a change between now and the public hearing. So that was us going ahead, looking ahead, and making sure that our issues are all covered with the permits.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. I have no issue with the extra foot for the screening on the top for your mechanical. Is the sound going to be much louder because of the equipment downstairs? Or just a typical air conditioning and cooling systems and stuff?
Yeah, there's no real sound that comes out of those vaults. In fact, those vaults have like 4-foot thick concrete walls around them, so nothing's getting out of that from an acoustic point of view. And
Right, but they don't need any special cooling systems
they
on the
have
roof or
some
anything?
cooling systems on the roof, but they don't make
Right.
any additional noise or anything beyond what
Okay.
a normal air conditioning would make.
And then also with water reclamation, you think they're gonna have an issue with this 30-foot setback instead of the 50 by the wetlands?
So MWRD allows you to do what you call wetland averaging, so you could provide more setback in certain areas and then reduce the setback. I think it's down to 30 in other areas, so, and we would be issuing the permit on behalf of MWRD as authorized municipalities, so we're okay with the general concept of wetland averaging, so I don't think it would be an issue.
Okay. Good luck. I think it looks like
Thank you. Commissioner Shalaby?
he's gonna be your first patient.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple of quick facts. One of the things that I studied in college was radiologic technology, so I profoundly appreciate this and went through some modalities in oncology and radiation therapy. And my first job out of college was at Northwestern Hospital in Streeterville. So exceptional, dynamic organization. There was some clarity provided by some of my fellow commissioners, which I think that have fully cleared me to think that this is going to be a fantastic project. Thank you, investing for Orland Park. I think this is going to bring a lot of, it's a wonderful asset to have in Orland Park. So we thank you very much. Very thorough presentation, so thank you for that. Ms. Gorman, also exceptional job, so thank you all. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, I concur with Commissioner Shalaby. I think it's a tremendous addition to Orland Park. Really, you've given us a very thorough, detailed presentation, and you've demonstrated your desire to give us a world-class facility that would only enhance our village. And excited at that prospect. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
Can I ask one more question?
No.
Of the petitioner?
Go ahead.
The parking modification, which is 20% or 18, just under 20%, 18.6 or 19%. That includes all of the spaces in the Health and Fitness Center. I think there's 277 spaces over there? Yeah, okay. Without that, are you going to be able to operate all the buildings in this center and have enough parking for everybody if you didn't have use of the Health and Fitness Center?
The simple answer is yes. We looked at a study done at like 50 cancer centers around the country by another consulting firm, and we are exceeding the parking ratios that they found for cancer centers of this size. So ignoring the rest of the PUD, just the parking spaces in the garage are more than adequate to serve the cancer centers.
Okay. I will make a suggestion that you talk to the owner of the Health and Fitness Center, which happens to be the Village of Orland Park, and get a shared parking agreement, just to protect your behinds. Because administrations change in villages and cities, but agreements survive those changes. And we have a lot of shared parking agreements throughout Orland Park. It makes sense. And if you think you ever might need those spaces, not knowing how things develop in the future, it's a good idea to have that in your pocket. So I would suggest you talk to the village staff, who will then talk to the elected officials, and
Good point.
probably agree to that.
One more thing. Staff, since you approved that variance, were you pretty certain that sharing would be approved by the fitness center?
Since all of these, the uses listed here, lots 1, 2, 3, they're within the same plan development, so we don't necessarily require a shared parking agreement
Okay.
when the uses are within the same plan development.
Okay.
So administratively, we've been okay with this 18.6% reduction because it's within the 20%.
You did take that into consideration.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. It's a good question.
You don't have to do that, I'm just suggesting
Yeah.
for their benefit, you might want to do it.
I would
I would make a motion, Mr.
Okay. Take your time, take your time.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the following. Regarding case number 2026-0637, also known as the Northwestern Medicine St. George Cancer Institute, I move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to the Plan Commission for this case, subject to the following additional condition, which is that the parking structure shall fully comply with on all sides with the provisions of section 6308 of the village if the petitioner does not construct an addition to the parking garage within 10 years. Hopefully I'll be around in 10 years.
I'm not going to second that with the requirement that you add a condition for a 10-year
Oh, you
agreement.
don't want it, you can make a motion to delete it.
To delete what?
Delete the additional condition.
Is there a second to the original motion?
Oh, okay.
Let's just find out if there's a second to the original motion.
I'm not second, is anybody going to second that original motion?
Okay.
Okay.
So it
Guess
goes
not.
as is.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Fenton?
I make a motion regarding case number 2026-0637, also known as the Northwestern Medicine St. George Cancer Institution. I move to approve the staff recommendation action as presented in the staff report to the Plan Commission for this case.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fenton, seconded by Commissioner Shalaby. I say aye. Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
And obviously Commissioner Fenton
Aye.
and Commissioner Schuster.
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Wish you all the best, and very excited about you coming to Orland Park. Thank you. Thank you.
I thought you were on vacation.
Having said that, let me just see here. Hang on a second here, hang on a second here. Yeah, okay. Okay. I move we close open public hearing. Seconded by Commissioner Shalaby, all in favor? Okay, nobody opposed? Okay. Without there being,
If you want to talk about that.
we were all given a memo about new petitions. I don't know that we need to, if anybody has anything to say about that at this point. But I would move that we adjourn at 8:47 PM. All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, guys.